A very good evening, welcome to Champions League Live as we conclude the knockout playoffs here this evening, and in the home of one of Europe's biggest football clubs, the record holders of this competition, Real Madrid, as they hold a 1-goal lead from last week's victory in Lisbon against SL Benfica. Benfica with a tough task on their hands, winning at the Bernabeu. But it is not impossible, because a couple of teams already done it this season. A Real Madrid side beaten by Osasuna between the two legs of this fixture means they are far from invincible, and Benfica will be holding on to that hope to see if they can go through tonight. But Real Madrid will surely, of course, have the home advantage and believe that is enough, along with their 1-goal lead on aggregate, to take them through to the round of 16. Already this evening, Atalanta had completed an incredible comeback against Borussia Dortmund, winning 4-1 in Bergamo, and that last-minute penalty was the decisive goal in the tie. A 2-goal aggregate deficit coming into the tie tonight, into the second leg tonight. They led 3-0. Dortmund got a goal back to take it to 3-3 in aggregate, but Atalanta with the penalty at the death, the 98th minute penalty from Samardzic, sends Atalanta through and knocks Borussia Dortmund out of the competition. Quite a remarkable ending to that game, and if any of the other three ties are anything like that, we're in for a cracking night of European action. Juventus have their job to do, and they overcome a 5-2 deficit against Galatasaray, absolutely thumped in Turkey last week. They're hoping to have a comeback and join their fellow compatriots Atalanta in the round of 16. Paris Saint-Germain, despite being 2-0 down to Monaco last week, they came back and won 3-2 in the first leg, so they take an advantage to the Bac de France and in continuation of the defence of their trophy. And as I said, Real Madrid leading by a 1-0 coming into this one against Benfica. But of course, the scoreline, the result, the game last week was all pushed to the wayside after what happened and all that has transpired over the last week. Gianluca Prestiani suspended by UEFA with an ongoing investigation and a pretty clear message from the home crowd. No al racismo in the crowd is the tifo after the claims of racism against Vinicius Jr. by Gianluca Prestiani, the Benfica player. But that has been taken out of the hands of the coaches. UEFA have made the decision to preliminary suspend the player, and he is not involved this evening. But in terms of Real Madrid, some bigger misses as well. No Kylian Mbappe, the competition's leading scorer, but they do go with Thibaut Courtois in goal. A back four of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Asensio returns alongside Rudiger in defence, and Carreras at left back. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde and Goulet make up what we believe to be a midfield four, with Vinicius Jr. and Gonzalo Garcia, the two forwards. On the bench for the home side, Lunin, Gonzalez, Carvajal, Alaba, Garcia, Mendy, Diaz, Mastuno, Quesero, Angel Moran, Palacios and Pitak for this one. No Rodrigo and no Kylian Mbappe, so lacking some depth in the attacking areas, Real Madrid, but lots of quality on the field nonetheless. Well, Benfica want to do what other teams have done and complete a comeback. It will be a massive one if they were able to complete it. And let's see if they can. Anatoly Churban, who made some fabulous saves last week against Real Madrid, he starts in goal. Dedic, Otamendi, Araujo and Dal are in an unchanged, shall I say, defence from last week. Barrero and Rios are in midfield with Silva further forward in the 10. Auschnes and Schilderup in the wide areas, and Vangelis Pavlidis leads the Benfica line. On the bench for the visitors, Ferreira, Suarez, Silva, Ba, Cabral, Neto, Banachea, Sudakov, Luca Bacchio, Manuel Silva, Ivanovic and Anicio Cabral. It was fiery both on and off the pitch last week at, of course, the Estadio de Luz. But let's hope that all of that stays between the football and between the two nets on the field tonight, and that it all goes in the true footballing way to the most dramatic ending possible. Let's hope so. The final games of the round of the knockout playoff second legs in the Champions League get underway next. A very good evening. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us for this one this evening, along two other games that are getting underway across Europe, in Turin and of course in Paris. And we are ready and waiting to get underway here in Madrid, the home of the 15-time European champions. Can they continue their run? They beat Manchester City at this stage last season to progress. Can they do it again in trying to once again add to their historic number of titles? But of course, all the side piece action that really has taken centre stage. Many could forget really what the scoreline was last week, but that beautiful goal from Vinicius Jr., wonderfully celebrated, you gotta say. And that is the only difference between the two sides. It was a closely fought first half really last week. The goal came early in the second, and the actions that took place straight after the goal really deaded the final 30 minutes of the game. And let's hope that football does the talking tonight, and we don't need to worry about anything else in that matter. We're underway in all three games across Europe. As I said, in Turin, in Paris and here in Madrid. Here's Carreras. Nice little 1-2. Finds Vinicius Jr. And back it goes to Thibaut Courtois. And when Vinicius Jr. got on the ball there, the away crowd were jeering and booing, which is an unfortunate thing to hear. Certainly not by the home crowd. Very strongly behind their player, as you would expect. Given away cheaply though by Real Madrid. As Rios tried to get on the end of it. Nicely taken in by Auschnes. And played back to Dal at left back. As I said, a bit of uncertainty outside of Europe for Real Madrid. They looked like they were charging away with the La Liga title, but defeat to Osasuna, matched with a Barcelona win on the weekend, means it's swung back in their opponent's favour when it comes to the La Liga trophy. And of course, Barcelona already into the round of 16, and Real Madrid want to join them. But here come Benfica on the breakaway. Nice ball to Rios, and the shot from range was well blocked. Picked up by Dal into Rios again, who was well intercepted by Goulet tracking back. Nice pick up here by Vinicius Jr. Down the left hand side. Trying to dribble his way past his man and showed a little bit too much with a heavy touch there. And allowed Dedic to step back in and cover. And I have to say, up until the goal last week, Amar Dedic did a really good job of keeping Vinicius Jr. quiet, but you can only keep him quiet for so long when he's on that form. Vinicius Jr. And that goal was absolutely purling. Beautiful goal last week. Well worthy of a winning goal. But of course they'll have to do without two key attackers tonight, Kylian Mbappe and Rodrigo. Further forward, Kylian Mbappe, as I said, the competition's top scorer. And that is a huge miss to any team. And they've got Gonzalo Garcia. Steps in place of Kylian Mbappe. 21-year-old Spaniard. And Gonzalo Garcia actually scored in the last home game at the Bernabeu in a 4-1 victory over Real Sociedad. But here come Benfica down the left-hand side as they try the cross. Blocked at the byline, flicked in and onto the side netting. Whether it took a deflection or not is the question mark. But Alexander-Arnold had his work cut out there at right back. And there's Alvaro Arbeloa, the Real Madrid boss. See it here, lovely feinted ball. Alexander-Arnold with the block, actually. Thought he saved his team. In the end, probably gifted Benfica a corner here. The offside flag would have went up if that ball had been through, but he couldn't take that risk. Corner it is. Right-footed delivery, flicked on at the near post, but into the hands of the ever-reliable Thibaut Courtois. Nicolas Otamendi was the man that flicked on to the head of that. Welcome in, Scott. Thank you very much for joining us. Goulet, Caoimhan into Vinicius Jr. Nicely blocked by Dedic. Pavlidis. Barrero back to Vangelis Pavlidis. Lovely little interchange between the players here of Benfica. Silva. Back to Ashness. And Dahl down the left-hand side. Here's Gelderup. Plays it inside. Finding a little chink of space for Silva. Struck it right down the throat of the goalkeeper. Again, playing really nice football so far. Our Benfica. And a couple of times Thibaut Courtois has had to be called into action. So far, Benfica haven't been able to put on the killer moment and come away with that goal. They're pushing, and they've won it back here, high up. Poor ball towards Pavlidis. Mopped up by Carreras and cleared away by Thibaut Courtois. Rios trying to battle with Camavinga, who stuck a foot in well. Chouameni lays it off to Arda Güler with space. Feeds it down the left-hand side. Vinicius Jr. has a run at Dedic. Chops inside, nice little 1-2. Vinicius Jr. tried to poke it. And he says he should have had a penalty. Goal kick given by the referee. He just kind of toe poked it, Vinicius Jr. on the return ball from the little 1-2. See it here. Cuts inside. Lays it off to Arda Güler and then gets the return ball. See it here. Beautifully weighted. And he struck it with the outside of his right boot. Just poked it wide, but definitely a goal kick. Last touch was off him, but whether it was a penalty... Ooh. Well, the argument could be that he was late, but I think it would have been soft. We play on. Maybe sowing the seed in the referee's mind that should have been a penalty. Nonetheless, here's Pavlidis trying to guide it behind. And closed out well by Alexander-Arnold, who came across. Stopped the ball from getting to Skelderup. Andy in the chat says, hey man, let's hope for Madrid they don't let themselves get sidetracked on what happened in the last time. Rightfully so. Football is for everyone and everyone included and respected. 100% Andy. Thank you very much for joining us for this one. I 100% agree with everything you said there. And you got to say, you know, albeit you can very easily and very rightfully get sidetracked by this issue. But as I say, as you say, it's something that Real Madrid also need to kind of rein in and use and channel in the right way. Channel their anger, channel their kind of disliking for what happened into their football and proving it on the field. And Vinicius Jr. put out a very kind of fierce statement after the game, and kind of on Instagram the post was kind of "see you at the Bernabeu," and I think that was kind of a hype to get the home fans up for this one and believe that they're going to need their fans tonight. And you know, Benfica, I gotta say, albeit you know, Real Madrid lead in the tie, but it is only the one goal, and it's a moment of individual brilliance. Other than that, Real Madrid were really poor in front of goal last week, and we can't really kind of sidetrack that and kind of put that to the side, because let's be real, they had more than enough chances, Real Madrid, to put this tie to bed in Lisbon. They didn't, and that's why we're here at such a tight position in this second leg. Now, you could argue the moment of brilliance followed up by what happened didn't allow Real Madrid to then kick on after that, but they had more than ample opportunity before the goal to get even more chances and to take more than the chances that they did. And that's the point coming into this one tonight. They need to be clinical, and I think they, for themselves, need that early goal just to settle the nerves a little bit, give themselves a home lead, and also add to that advantage on aggregate. Will be a delightful start to the night for them. Arda Güler trying to ping one out to Vinny Jr. on the left, but just overheaded a little bit, but applauded by Vinicius Jr. He was almost set up by Arda Güler a few moments ago. See it again. Vinicius Jr. Was he caught? I mean, Otamendi was late, but it's not major contact there, I gotta say. It's a little soft for me. Camavinga was caught, though, by Pavlidis. That's going to be a free kick. Number 14, fouling number 6. Well, a reminder for you of the teams that have already been through. 5 of them already confirmed to be in the last 16 out of the 8 teams that will qualify from the knockout playoffs. Atletico Madrid, Leverkusen, Bodo Glimt, and we remember their story from last night, and Newcastle, and then Atalanta booked their place with that incredible comeback against Borussia Dortmund earlier this evening. As it stands, if all these games stay 0-0, we will have an outcome, a winner from all of those ties. We won't need extra time if it stays 0-0. Galatasaray are winning by 3 goals, 5-2 on aggregate there against Juve. PSG 3-2 up against Monaco, and Real Madrid 1 up here. So it would be Galatasaray, PSG and Real Madrid that would all progress if things stayed as they are, or an equivalent level scoreline right the way throughout the evening. But you got to say, there was a stat I read after Inter's departure from the competition last night. There was a stat I read that at least one Italian team has made the round of 16 in the Champions League in every season since it was kind of the Champions League rather than the European Cup. And there was a chance tonight that there would be no Italian teams in the round of 16. Atalanta have confirmed that there will be one, but they had a 2-goal deficit coming into the night. Juventus had a 3-goal deficit coming into tonight, and it wasn't looking good for Italian teams until Atalanta's incredible comeback. Here's Pavlidis, picks up a loose ball, edge of the box. Can he find a teammate? He tries to feed it across, but overhits it. And that will evade Richard Rios. And behind for the goal kick. Gotta say, Pavlidis has had a lot of involvement in these early moments for Benfica. Richard Rios, of course. 25-year-old Colombian. I remember watching him in the Copa America a few seasons ago, and he was absolutely incredible for Colombia, Richard Rios. He got an assist for Benfica in their 3-0 win in the league over the weekend against AVS. Of course, they still chase the top 2, Benfica and Sporting and Porto in Liga Portugal. All focus on progressing in the Champions League tonight. And a competition they've actually done pretty well in, Benfica, over the last few years. They've had, as usual, as we've seen for a lot of Portuguese clubs, their players nicked and stolen. I gotta say, they've started the better of the 2 teams here. Had 3 shots already from the first 12.5 minutes, Benfica. So they're showing their intention of not looking to allow Real Madrid to let them run the show. They're going to be a tough test for them tonight. Here's Dahl. Finds Rios, lovely little angled ball. Finds it to Pavlidis, who lays it across, cleared off the line and bundled in. And Benfica, who started the better, find the opening goal. And it's Silva with the finish. Pavlidis' cross, blocked by Asensio, Cleared off the line by Courtois, but rebounded into the path of Silva, who gives Benfica the lead on the night and levels this tie up. Real Madrid 0, Benfica 1, 1-1 in aggregate, but this play in the build-up, I said their play in the build-up has been really nice so far, but Dal plays it into Rios, who lays it back out wide to Pavlidis. Again, the attempt to defend there from Asencio, plays it back into his own goalkeeper's path, who has to clear it away. But unfortunately for Thibaut Courtois, it rebounds back into Silva's path. And Rafa Silva's there to make sure it goes over the line and gives Benfica the lead. And that is a real rapid start for the visitors. 14 minutes in, and they lead by a goal to 0. And the tie is all square on aggregate. And this, we've got a tie on our hands. And a very exciting one, I'm sure. You got to say, when you watch Real Madrid in the Champions League, never ever say that it's boring, because it's not. It never is. And in no way am I referencing last week's incident, and no way am I mentioning that. But when it comes to Real Madrid and knockout games in the Champions League, they make you think that you've got a chance, and then they kill you late. We've seen it many's a time before. But they are going to have a difficult night tonight. Of course, remember, they only need to draw tonight's game. As long as they avoid defeat on the night, they will be through. But as it stands at the moment, that's easier said than done. Asencio, I mean, if I'm honest, Asencio, it's a bit panicky, really. It reminds me a little bit, if you remember Phil Jones at Man United, where he always wanted to try and score an own goal, Phil Jones. He always wanted to pass it back to his goalkeeper under pressure. And it was one of those panicky moments, I think, from Asencio, where he was just trying to get it back to his goalkeeper, trying to get it away from danger and try and get something to the ball to make it out that he got there. In the end, he plays it back to his goalkeeper, and Courtois can do nothing about it. I mean, there's not much Courtois can do. They've got it back here. Tchouaméni fires Real Madrid right back into it. Levels it within a couple. And Real Madrid retake the aggregate advantage and tie this game up on the night. And it's 2-1. As quick as a flash, Benfica took the lead. Real Madrid level it up again. And this is an incredible start to this game at a venue that deserves football like this. Again, it's played down that right-hand side. And again, Benfica, I don't know what they're doing. They have 6 players in the box, but they're all charging towards the penalty area. And the cutback just completely kills the defensive momentum. Beautifully swept by Aurelien Tchouaméni, driving onto the ball. Swept it with his right foot. The spin, the curl, the accuracy is gorgeous. And the Frenchman ties it up for Real Madrid on the night. And they take the lead once again on aggregate. Real Madrid 1, Benfica 1. Real Madrid 2-1 on aggregate. And as quickly as Benfica took the lead, Real Madrid levelled it up again. And that's lit up the Bernabeu. And that was a much needed goal for Real Madrid. But they're coming right back at them here, Benfica. End to end at the moment is well blocked by Rudiger. And Caoimhan clears. Vinicius Jr. lays it off to his man in Valverde. Poked through by Goulet. Finds Gonzalo Garcia. On the move again here, Real Madrid. And Benfica have ample bodies back to deal with this situation. Well, we're off to a fiery start here, but nothing's happened elsewhere. PSG 0, Monaco 0, and Juve 0, Galatasaray 0 on the night. But as it stands, it will be Galatasaray and PSG who would progress on aggregates. Guedes driving infield, actually. The left back finds the scorer Tchouaméni. Now Valverde down the right. Alexander-Arnold going for another cutback. This time picked up by Benfica. Closed out, but under pressure. Albeit it's going to be a free kick to Benfica. deemed to be a foul by Fede Valverde. And Trent Alexander-Arnold arguing the case with the assistant, but the referee quickly over to explain the decision. See the cutback by Valverde, and swept onto so beautifully by Aurelien Tchouameni. Just a gorgeous finish. It's one of those where an inch to the left, an inch to the right, and it doesn't find its target. It had to be perfect, and it was. Well, the referee, Slavko Vincic, tonight has a tough task on his hands, trying to keep these two sets of players' emotions in check. As Benfica ready to take the free kick with their goalkeeper Anatoly Trubin. Clears his lines well. And flicked on by Pavlidis. That actually works out defensively for Real Madrid as Tchouameni, or Courtois, sorry, wrong name, picks it up, strikes it long. No foul there by Carreras as he plays it to Camavinga. He looks to lift it over the top for Vinicius Jr. He snuck in behind Dahl, but Dahl recovers well, puts it out for the throw, but Vinicius Jr. wants response from the home crowd, and he gets it. Just short of 20 minutes gone, and this game's been blasted into life with 2 goals in quick succession, 1 for each team. Here is Asencio. Rudiger. Vinicius Jr. Camavinga. Back to Raul Asencio. Tchouameni now to Camavinga. Working in between the lines. Camavinga as he bricks it out to the left-hand side for Vinicius Jr. Holds on to the ball. Plays it back to Rudiger. Now feeds it back to Asencio. Alexander-Arnold. Nice little 1-2 between him and Valverde as he pokes it over the top. Dahl with a defensive header that is picked up by Trubin. Gonzalo Garcia wanted to try and get something to that, and it's there with the defensive header. That's a nice ball. Skelderup on the run. Bricks into the box. Alexander-Arnold trying to block him. Played across! And it's gone all the way through. It's picked up here on the right-hand side by Rios. Nice little 1-2. Barrero couldn't get it across. Will be a corner. Well, that was another opportunity. And again, it's down this left-hand side this time. See it here. Skelderup. He's just onside. It's Asencio that plays him on. Alexander-Arnold's got a lot of ground to make up, but really doesn't get the better of his man. He fires it across that corridor of danger inside the 6-yard box. Luckily for Real Madrid, it comes out the other side with no damage done. And in the end, Barrero rescues it for a corner. Electric this game. Auschness to take the corner. Right-footed. Flicked on the near post. And again, all the way through from the flick on. Barrero again with that flick on, but it's picked up with the left side. Whipped in deep. And too deep, too close to Courtois. Well, looking a real threat, Benfica, on those breakaways, certainly in wide areas. And the Real Madrid fullback struggling to deal with that position at the moment. As we're halfway through the first half. Real Madrid 1, Benfica 1, 2-1 to Madrid on aggregates. Still awaiting our first goal in Paris or in Turin. Tightly contested fixtures all across the Champions League this week. Hoping for some big headlines, and of course the draw for the round of 16. It's only a few weeks away, the round of 16. I think it's 3 weeks. Actually, it might be 2 weeks just, actually. Tchouameni fires it out to the right-hand side. Valverde. Alexander-Arnold whips it in low. Away by Otamendi. Alexander-Arnold will retrieve as he drives back into his own half. Yeah, 2 weeks. Yesterday, the round of 16 gets underway, the 10th of March. Here's Camavinga. He will hit one from range. Right down the throat of Trubin, but Trubin had that one well underway. Well dealt with. No questions about that. Yeah, Tuesday the 10th and Wednesday the 11th of March, so 2 weeks for the round of 16. The draw on Friday to see who will play who. Of course, there's already a kind of pre-bracket in a sense of we already know the kind of matchups and pairings for who could possibly play who. For each team, there's only 2 possible opponents for the round of 16, and there's kind of the 8 ties in this round. They're each paired together, so 4 different pairs, and they've got a pair of teams for the round of 16 that have already automatically qualified, and we already know those pairings, so we can kind of make something out of the draw ahead of it. As Vinicius Jr. hits it low and hard at Trubin. Comfortable for the Benfica goalkeeper, but starting to get a little bit more joy in front of the goal. The hosts. Well, this is the 6th meeting between the two sides in the European Cup or Champions League. Although Madrid won the first leg of this tie, Benfica are one of 2 sides they have faced 5 or more times in the competition and lost more games than they've won. 3 they've lost, 2 they've won, along with AC Milan, where they've played 16 times, won 6 but lost 7 times, Real Madrid. So it is not a happy opponent for Madrid when they face each other in this competition. So far, so good it seems, based on the aggregate scoreline. And this is a nice stat. This is the 3rd consecutive meeting between these two sides in the Champions League. Of course, they played a match day 8 of the group phase, and then the 2 first and second legs of the playoffs. It's the first fixture in Champions League history to be played 3 times in a row in the same season. It's a nice little stat, that. Throw in from the right-hand side. Nicely guided across into midfield by Real Madrid. Caoimhan. Carreras. Back across to Rudiger. Into Arda Güler. Carreras. Looks like they've kind of just adjusted a little bit here, Real Madrid. Carreras is going further forward and actually more of an orthodox fullback. He'd be kind of being inverted for the first 25 minutes, but he's kind of gone more orthodox on the wing. And Vinicius Jr. has just kind of gone alongside Gonzalo Garcia in centre. Kind of a front 2, really. Caoimhan, nicely done there by Tchouaméni to find his midfield teammate. Caoimhan does well under pressure, finds Carreras on the left-hand side. Back to Tchouaméni. Now Asencio. Across to Rudiger. Caoimhan. Vinicius Jr. Caoimhan to Tchouaméni. Nice play by Real Madrid, just keeping a hold of the ball for now. Wanting to gain a little bit of control. It was a little bit chaotic in the first 20 minutes. Benfica certainly got the better of the start of the game. The first 15 minutes they were the better team. Then Real Madrid struck right back to level the game after Benfica had scored. And kind of took the sting out of it a little bit in the last few minutes. After Benfica wanted to do kind of the back and forward approach. And that will benefit them tonight if they make it a more open, more kind of aggressive, high-tempo game. It will benefit the visitors. More end-to-end approach. Real Madrid will just want to have control. They've got the lead, and they want to manage this game at the experience they have. Rios. Auschness. Bit of possession here for Benfica. Back here to Araujo. Across to Otamendi. He's being pressed as he plays it back to his goalkeeper. So still goalless in those other two ties. Let's update on how things have gone so far. We'll go to Paris first. It's goalless there on the night between the two sides. And PSG lead 3-2 on aggregate. 3 shots apiece from PSG dominating the possession. But neither side have had a shot on target yet in that one at the Parc des Princes in the French capital. And in Turin, it is still a lot of work for Juventus to do. They've been pushing Juve. They've albeit had less shots on target than Galatasaray at the moment, 2-1 in the visitors' favour at this moment in time. So they need to get their move on Juventus if they're going to try and claw back a 3-goal deficit. The most that's happened is both teams have got a player on a yellow card. So that really sums up that game in Turin at the moment. Corner here to Benfica. Skelderup is over to take it. Right hand side. Right footed delivery. Up and away by Caoimhan. He got his head to that one as they try to recycle it. Nicely done by Arda Güler, forcing the heavy touch. And Real Madrid get the throw in deep in their own half. And so far Benfica have had all the corners. Real Madrid yet to have their first corner of the game. As we hit the half-hour mark at the Bernabeu, a third of the way through tonight's game. And the first third started pretty poorly for Madrid, but they showed their resilience in pretty quick fashion to scramble back an equaliser. Vinicius Jr. skips away from his marker, lays it off now to Caoimhan, feeds it down the right, finds Valverde, back inside it goes to Arda Güler, wanted to shoot, didn't in the end, and tried to recycle it to Carreras, who gets the second ball, finds Caoimhan, now Rudiger, pushing for another here, Real Madrid, Arda Güler, Valverde, inside it goes, a little bit loose, a few players going for it there, but Asensio was the one that picks it up and plays it to Caoimhan. Vinicius Jr. gets past this man in Dedic, trying to dribble his way through. Vinicius Jr. has to face back towards his own half as he flicks it across and bobbled on. Garcia Güler forces it home. And Real Madrid take the lead on the night. They weren't given on that one. And Arda Güler is there to force it over the line. The keeper's down, Anatoly Trubin claiming it was fouled. But Real Madrid certainly clinical when they get their opportunities. And they take the lead on the night. And a 2-goal advantage on aggregates. You see it here. It all starts with Vinicius Jr. I think the chance is gone when Dedic kind of forces him back into the field, but he gets that little inch of space again. That half yard, Vinicius Jr., he pops it across the 18-yard area. Headed across by Valverde. Gonzalo Garcia made very little contact. It bounced off the arm of Otamendi. And there to pounce was Arda Güler before Anatoly Trubin could get his hands to it. And Real Madrid lead 2-1 on the night, 3-1 on aggregate. A bit of daylight for the Madridistas to celebrate. And they were, however, checking for a possible offside VAR. Whether Gonzalo Garcia was offside from the header back across by Fede Valverde, that is the question. Whether there was an offside that would negate this goal. It looked close. We will await and see. What will the referee Slavko Vincic be hearing in his ear? And I fear it's not a good one. The decision is no goal, offside. So celebrations curtailed and goal chalked off. Offside No goal. And we're back to level pegging on the night. And Real Madrid with a 2-1 aggregate lead. As that's going to be a foul given away by Arda Güler. See it here, the full confirmation. It is Valverde's header across, and Gonzalo Garcia is just... I mean, he's a half a shoulder offside, but he's offside nonetheless. The technology is there to make the decisions, and the correct decision has been found. Maybe a bit of a lifeline for Benfica. You can kind of feel they were faltering a little bit in this game in the last 15 minutes. Since that Real Madrid equaliser and since that massive chance they had that came to nothing, they've kind of just fallen away a little bit as Richard Rios has got a yellow card. He can't believe that he has, but the referee brandished the booking. See it again here. I mean, it's one of those where he does get the ball, he gets rid of the ball, but the follow through on Tchouaméni just catches the right foot. Intentional or not, I mean, it's just one of those unfortunate ones for Rios. It's a yellow card. Here is Vinicius Jr. Trying to find a way through, but block paths everywhere he goes, but he's not giving up. As he plays it back to Antonio Rudiger. Last 10 minutes of the first half. Real Madrid 1, Benfica 1. Madrid lead 2-1 on aggregates. And a lot of this game to go. And a lot more can still unfold here at the Bernabeu. As Real Madrid got a free kick here, Vinicius Jr. was fouled. Normally here, there's been VAR intervention in Turin. Now, I can't completely tell you what's happened, but I believe it's a penalty to Juventus in that one. That's what I believe to be the case. And I can tell you, just as I've been checking up on that, it has been a penalty, and they have just scored. So Juventus take the lead on the Knights from the penalty spot, and it is Manuel Locatelli that has given them the lead on the night. But remember, the aggregate score would still be 5-3 to Galatasaray. So Juventus need to win by 4 clear goals to win the tie outright. 3 clear goals to take it to extra time. They lead by a goal to nil, so a step in the right direction for Juventus in Turin. It is Juventus 1, Galatasaray 0 on the Knights. Here's Auschness. Dahl to Otamendi. Into Auschness. Bobbles forward, plays it down the left channel. Schelderup trying to dribble into the box, gets past Alexander-Arnold, cuts it back. Rios! Good save by Thibaut Courtois. Well saved, well stopped, well struck initially by Rios. See it here, beautiful from Schelderup. Kept it alive really well, dribbling through like a magician. Dropped it back to Richard Rios, who struck through it cleanly. Well saved by Thibaut Courtois. They come again. Here's Dedic dribbling through himself. He broke his own ankles at the edge of the box there as he lost balance. And Madrid can clear, but Benfica maybe having another little push here at Real. So we come close to the final few minutes of this first half. Dedic finds Auschness. Couldn't find out Rafa Silva, well blocked. Picked up now for Real Madrid. Valverde. Not really able to progress there as it's played back to Raul Asensio and across to Rudiger. Asensio. Valverde. Plays it to Rudiger. Valverde again. Plays it out wide to Alexander-Arnold. Valverde. Caoimhan. To Rudiger. Just popping it around Real Madrid, looking to negate any sort of momentum that Benfica want to build. And you got to say, you look at the stats so far, they have been lacking in big moments so far, Real Madrid. They've had 4 shots to Benfica's 6. They've created more big chances, but their XG so far, 0.30. Compare that to Benfica's 1.29. So at the moment, the visitors are showing more of a threat in the final third than the hosts. But it is the home side that are, at the moment, progressing. That's a beautiful strike by Richard Rios. Really good strike, but well saved by Thibaut Courtois. And I gotta say, Real Madrid, they have to hand quite a lot of their trophies to their goalkeeper single-handedly, because he makes some incredible saves, some improbable saves. Thibaut Courtois, that is a very good save, but I mean, if you haven't seen some of Thibaut Courtois' unbelievable saves, he has quite a compilation full of them. Here is Vinicius Jr. Steps inside, looks for the switch ball, plays it, finds it to Valverde. Lots of space, plays it across. Otamendi clears. Alexander-Arnold takes the touch and just got it away under pressure there. Now Camavinga. Down the left come Real Madrid. Carreras. Finds it to Caoimhan. Again swings it out to that right-hand side. Caressed by Valverde. Fed in behind. Carreras playing right wing. Finds it back to Valverde, who cuts it back to Goulet. Arda Goulet deflected. Will go wide for the corner. Gotta say, Carreras made an incredible run there. Just opened the space up. Confused the Benfica defence, and Arda Goulet had the opportunity in the space. The deflection came off Nicolas Otamendi's right foot, and it goes well wide for the corner. Pushing for another Real Madrid. Put the ball in the back of the net twice. One given, one disallowed. Well, they have another big chance before the interval. Alexander-Arnold to take this corner. Left-hand side. Rudiger trying to use his physicality, but referee Slavko Vincic wants to make sure all is well in the box. No infighting between the players. Alexander-Arnold goes short with the corner. Arda Güler to Valverde. Finds Arda Güler in space. Fires it across. Scrambled clear. Hoofed up the field now by Benfica, but that was really nicely done by Real Madrid. Just lacking the finish in the middle, but the build-up from that short corner was really nice. Benfica were a little bit fortunate that it fell to one of their players rather than a white shirt in the box there. Otherwise could have been a different outcome. Pavlidis does well, dropping back, finds Arsnes. Now a little gap here for Rafa Silva. Spinning his way through, brought down. That's going to be a free kick on the halfway line for Rafa Silva, who's the man who opened the scoring tonight for Benfica. Got them in the lead on the night and level in the tie. After what was a electric start from the visitors. Quickly eradicated by the home side. Within 2 minutes of the Benfica goal, Real Madrid were level. Otamendi. Cross to Araujo. Now Dedic. Scanning for passes, but reverses it back to Araujo, and now across again to Otamendi, who's gone back to Trubin. Forced back into their own box here, in possession. Benfica, and a blind pass played by Dahl, given away to Alexander-Arnold. Now Arda Güler. Switch it. Finds Valverde, who's come over to this left-hand side. Lots of movement. Valverde off balance there, well blocked by Araujo, cleared away by Dedic. They're all over the place here, Real Madrid, in a very good way. They're not sticking to one position. Across there by Alexander-Arnold. What a save. The free kick was given anyway, but Gonzalo Garcia's header. Great save by Anatoly Trubin, but none of it will count. Arda Güler. Picking up those pockets of space. Finds it to Carreras. Last 30 seconds of the half. Vinicius Jr. dribbling his way towards Dedic. Gets to the byline, pokes it across. Hung up in the air, and the rebound is deflected. Valverde with a shot, deflected by Benfica. Behind for a Real Madrid corner. You gotta say Vinicius Jr. had a slow start against Dedic, but has him on toast here. Beautiful. And Valverde's effort come off the head of Barrero. Didn't know much about it, I gotta say, the Benfica midfielder, but hit a crucial involvement. Corner delivered in. Header is well off target. Kept alive by Madrid. Valverde pings it across, up and away. And as far as Alexander-Arnold, who fired it back towards the area, headed away again. 1 additional minute. We've played half of that already. We've a goal in Paris, all happening right before the half here. We'll tell you about that goal in Paris. It's a massive goal, I can tell you, at the Parc des Princes. We'll get there in a second. Here's Vinicius Jr. Again, trying to burst past Dedic. Went down. Says he was smacked in the face there, Vinicius Jr. Referee said he spotted something, and a foul it is, and a free kick to Real Madrid. See it again here. I mean, to be fair, Dedic is just trying to hold him off, and he makes a little bit of a meal of it, really, Vinicius Jr. I think it's a little bit forceful there from Vinicius Jr. Free kick it is, though. This is surely the last action of the first half. Remember, we'll tell you what's happened in Paris in a moment. And one more free kick, one more set piece for Real Madrid. Alexander-Arnold over it. Left-hand side. We've played the 1 minute of additional time. Last bit of defending of the half, surely, for Benfica. Last attack of the half for Real Madrid. Lots of bodies in the mix here. And lots of white shirts for Trent Alexander-Arnold to try and find. He's got the delivery. What can he find with the delivery? Although, there's a Real Madrid player down there. Asencio with a little battle with Richard Rios. He has to be careful, remember. He's on a yellow card. He can be physical, but needs to walk a very fine line, Richard Rios, who wasn't having any of it from Raul Asencio there. Free kick to Real Madrid. Eventually going to be taken here. Right-footed delivery by Alexander-Arnold. We're at the front posts. Cleared away, and that's going to round off the half. A first half which, you've got to say, Benfica have probably had the better of it when it comes to opportunities and chances. But Real Madrid have found the net more times, actually. Albeit, they had a tough start to the half when Benfica took the lead through Rafa Silva, when he bundled past Courtois with a poor back ball by Raul Asencio, albeit from Benfica cross from Pavlidis. That gave the visitors the lead that lasted less than 2 minutes when Real Madrid were back level on the night. An equaliser come through Aurelien Tchouameni with a sweet effort from the edge of the area. That tied things up on the night and restored Real Madrid's aggregate lead, which stands at the break. It's 1-1 on the night, 2-1 to Real Madrid on aggregates. Before we leave you, before we go to the half, we have to tell you about that goal in Paris, because it is a huge goal when it comes to the tie, because it levels things on aggregate. Caoimhan has given Monaco the lead right on the brink of half-time, and it levels things 3-3 on aggregate in that tie. Paris pretty much shell-shocked at the moment. PSG 0, Monaco 1 on the night. It's 3-3 on aggregate. It's all happening. Big second halves to come in all three games, and we will tell you about all of the first half action when we come back. Do stay with us. Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this, and Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions, and there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and battered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. to Champions League Live. Second half in Madrid on the way in just a moment. Real Madrid 1, Benfica 1 on the night. Aggregate scoreline in Madrid's favour. They lead by 2-1 on aggregates. Second half on the way in just a moment. Elsewhere, Juventus are leading 1-0 against Galatasaray, but still need 2 more goals to tie it up on aggregate. And PSG level in the game, or in the tie, but Monaco leading by a 0-0. That Akliouche goal just before the half has tied it up on aggregate 3-3. A reminder for you, the round of 16 draw will take place on Friday, and that will create a path to the final for all 16 teams to see who will be heading to that final and what path they will have. That's on Friday, and the round of 16 gets underway in just 2 weeks' time, Tuesday the 10th and the 11th of March for the first legs, and Tuesday the 17th and Wednesday the 18th of March for the second legs. And a quick look at the bracket for this. So this is the matchup. Real Madrid, the winners of this Real Madrid or Benfica game, will play Sporting or Manchester City, and Bodo Glimt, after their win over Inter, will get the other team. So there is a possibility that either if Benfica go through, they play a compatriot in Sporting, 2 Portuguese sides, or a rematch of Real Madrid-Manchester City if that happens, which will be another cracker of a round of 16 setup. We'll recap all of this just before we leave you a little later on this evening, because we are hot-footing it to the second half. The players in the tunnel, ready to get back underway here at the Bernabeu in Madrid. And at half-time, what will the thoughts of both managers be? I think both will be contented with what they've seen so far, but of course will want more of their teams. Real Madrid will want to take this tie completely away from Benfica in this second half and really solidify their result. But Benfica will want to cause more chaos, cause more confusion and upset to Real Madrid, and they need, if they want to get in the tie, they need that next goal just to tie it up in aggregate and make it a real tasty second half. We know what's at stake. Real Madrid know what's at stake, and they will not give Benfica an easy path if they are to cause what would be a bit of an upset here this evening. And of course, as I said, without their star man Kylian Mbappe, there is that question mark over whether they can get it done without him. Let's see. There's the president of Real Madrid, Florentino Perez, or in Spanish, El Presidente. I have to say, I love watching Real Madrid because it gives me a chance to try and use a bit of Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but I love just pronouncing things in Spanish. Beautiful language. Anyway, back to the football. Benfica get us underway for the second half here at the Bernabeu in Madrid. Where at the moment, it is Real Madrid with the aggregate advantage, but this game has been far from one-sided in this first half. 45 minutes where neither could be separated on the night, and of course that is good enough for the hosts to progress. Benfica need to win on the night to ensure that Real Madrid don't automatically go through. That is the simple task for the next 45 minutes at least for these two. And they believe that they've already scored Benfica. That will give them a lot of confidence that they can go and do it again. I've had quite a few chances to score. Real Madrid have had chances of their own. Eduardo Camavinga back to Antonio Rudiger. And of course we're keeping a lot of eyes on the other two games as well, because they're not done and dusted yet either. In Paris, certainly not. The reigning champions are at the moment being held in that tie by Monaco at the Parc des Princes. It is 1-0 to Monaco, but aggregate scoreline of 3-3, so that's well in the balance. And it is still advantage Galatasaray and Turin, but Juventus are leading, and they need to add to that lead if they're going to make that a tie. Here's Alexander-Arnold for Madrid. Fires it across, a miscue by Valverde, who didn't make any contact. If he had have, that would have been a glorious chance for a second for Real Madrid. He couldn't quite find the link up there. Got his feet all wrong, Fede Valverde, ultimately. Tchouaméni. Asensio. Back to Courtois. One thing about Real Madrid tonight, you've not really been able, other than the centre-backs, you've not been really able to pinpoint where any player will be at any given time. And it's hard for us from an aerial point of view. And it's not going to be easy for Benfica out there. The fluidity of Real Madrid in terms of their positions. No one's sticking to a rigid role. They're all kind of interchanging in moments. And Carreras here actually wanted to burst past his man. Committed the foul actually on Barrero. That's going to be a free kick to Benfica. We see Trent Alexander-Arnold's fed ball across, and Fede Valverde made absolutely no contact. Well, one thing that does bode well for Real, albeit their experiences against Benfica previously don't bode well a lot of the time, but in terms of their quality, it's Valverde's cross. Oh, wasn't too far away. Cross turned into a shot of some sort, and Trubin sees it over the bar. But Real Madrid have progressed from 22 of their last 23 UEFA Champions League knockout ties when they've won the first leg. The only exception in this run was against Ajax in the last 16 back in the 2018-19 season. They won 2-1 in the first leg and lost 4-1 in the second leg. Incredible. And that's the only kind of upset on that. And Ajax, of course, went all the way to the semi-finals that year and were then themselves miraculously knocked out by Tottenham, who were then lost the final to Liverpool in the 2018-19 season. One of the rare seasons where Real Madrid really didn't push for the title. As Vinicius Jr. there hangs offside. Definitely quite clear. Oh, that's nice. A little bit of fortune here for Pavlidis. He's broke away. Pavlidis trying to create an angle. Just kind of scraped it towards Rafa Silva, who'd gone the opposite direction. That's nicely done by Valverde. Beat it to Carreras. 5 minutes gone in the second half, and we remain all the same. That was poor there from Valverde. Terrible ball forward. That was another poor play. This time it was Otamendi trying the switch ball, but played it a good 15 yards ahead of Dedic there. Here's Vinicius Jr. Bundled down, then Tchouaméni's taken down too. He wanted one, he wanted another. Otamendi got neither. And it's a free kick to Real Madrid and a yellow card for Nicolas Otamendi. Taking no prisoners there, the Benfica centre-back. Of course, the Argentinian absolutely body checked Vinicius Jr. and then went sliding in late on Tchouaméni. Definitely a free kick and a yellow card. And, well, that's a nice segue, because Nicolas Otamendi, with a yellow card, will now be suspended. If they go through Benfica, he will be suspended for the first leg of the round of 16 tie if they are to progress Benfica. So that is a very costly yellow card for the visitors. That all would be down to whether they progress or not. So, free kick. Fed into the box, back post. Rudiger was there, but Rios had him covered up. It will be a corner. Rios got the block. Put it behind for the corner. This will be Real Madrid's and the only corner of the half so far. They're first of the half for Real Madrid. Trent Alexander-Arnold over it. Not a pushing and shoving in the box again, which the referee wants to make sure is all tied up and under control. Look at this. They're all kind of hugging each other on the penalty spot. Alexander-Arnold, right-footed delivery, headed on and just over the crossbar by Raul Asencio. Wonderful delivery by Alexander-Arnold. Jumping up despite being dragged there by the back of his shirt by Dal. Rose tall Raul Asencio. Turban would have had control of it anyway if it had dipped, but just onto the roof of the net. Another swipe and challenge. That time the referee said there was no foul as the ball towards Dal was under hit. Intercepted by Valverde, but not able to pounce upon that and use it to his advantage. Rios with lovely skill. Nice to Barrera. Now Ashna squeezes through an impossible gap. Now finds space for Rafa Silva. Down the left for Skelderup. Up against Alexander-Arnold. Dribbles into the area. Skelderup plays it across Alexander-Arnold's clearance. Behind for the corner. From one end to the other. And Skelderup has, I have to say, he's looked bright down that left. Whether he'd stayed on side, he had. Left back there. Carreras playing him on, and then the little 1-2 between him and Rafa Silva. Alexander-Arnold getting in the way of it. Puts it behind for the corner. Skelderup will take the corner. Left-footed. And into the hands of Thibaut Courtois. No threat whatsoever. Aurelien Tchouameni. Goulart. Valverde back to Tchouameni. And Real Madrid with more of the ball and trying to be a little bit quicker, but Benfica stubborn out of possession as it stands at the moment. Tchouameni going for the switch ball. Taken it by Alexander-Arnold. Nicely guided inside. Camavinga. Valverde. Tchouameni. Back across to Eduardo Camavinga. Back to Tchouameni. Finds it to Asencio and now to Goulart. Trying to work themselves into a good position at the minute, Real Madrid, but tiptoeing their way towards the area. Vinicius Jr., Goulart on the turn. Valverde was stopped right in the nick of time. Scrambled away and picked back up by Real Madrid. Here's Alexander-Arnold trying to dribble us through himself. And just wide of that left post by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Kind of embodied his inner Lionel Messi there. Albeit not to compare Lionel Messi to a Real Madrid player, but beautiful little chinks and changeovers and beautiful little step over to play it onto his right foot again. And that time skipped it just wide of the left post. As that's a bit sloppy there from Raul Asencio. He's going to get a yellow card. And I don't understand why he's there or what he's doing there and what that challenge was. I mean, really unnecessary from Raul Asencio. And Rafa Silva gets absolutely cleaned out, but I think I would love someone to explain to me what went through the head of Raul Asencio there. Mad. He gets himself a booking. You got to say Raul Asencio doesn't have a good past with Benfica, because he got a yellow card in the matchday 8 fixture. Then got a second yellow, got himself sent off and missed the first leg of this tie. And he's got a yellow card here again against Benfica tonight. Not had a great night, Raul Asencio, I gotta say. The mistake for the Benfica goal. And then that really poor crunch and challenge. Some really silly individual decisions from Raul Asencio at times tonight. Again, I have to say, we've not seen very much at all of Gonzalo Garcia or Vinicius Jr., to be very fair. Here's a breakaway for Benfica. Well shielded there by Silva, but just about nicked away by Carreras. It's all happening across Europe now. There's red cards and gold. We'll tell you about it in a second, because here come Real Madrid. Alexander-Arnold skips it towards Vinicius Jr., but overhits it completely. And that's gone out for a throw. Right, quick updates from around the grounds. Juventus have had a good night so far, but it's gone pretty poorly in the last few minutes, because Lloyd Kelly has been shown a straight red card. VAR upgraded it from yellow to red, so Juve are down to 10 and need 2 goals at least, without reply from Galatasaray, to try and spring a comeback. And it's gone horribly for Monaco in the last 5 minutes. Mamadou Koulibaly was shown a yellow card, then was shown a second yellow card 3 minutes later. He's off, and within 2 minutes of the red card, Marquinhos, the Real Madrid or the PSG captain, shall I say, has tied the game up in Paris, and that has given PSG the on-the-night leveller, but an aggregate lead once again by 4-3 on aggregate. So the European champions not going down without a fight. They're level on the night, leading in the tie. And Juve down to 10. Still 2 goals down in the tie, as Rafa Silva's effort hits the crossbar. He could have had a second one. Maybe it took a deflection away through here, but Barrera with a great challenge on Vinicius Jr. Pavlidis picks it up, lays it to Rafa Silva, who swung it with his right foot. Outside of his right foot, it came off Raul Asencio. Just kind of tipped it a little higher. I think I might have took a touch off Courtois as well. Corner it is. Benfica were desperately close there. Auschness to take the corner. Right footed. Up and away at the near post by Caoimhan. Pushing again, here are Benfica. And as we hit the hour mark inside the Bernabeu, it is Real Madrid who at the moment would still be going through on aggregate, leading by 2-1 on aggregate, 1-1 on the night. Benfica need to win to have any chance of going through. They need to win on the night to have any chance of going through. But the history might bode well for Real Madrid, but it doesn't equally so for Benfica. They've progressed through just one of their 8 previous knockout ties in major European competitions when losing the first leg at home. They lost 1-0 to Dinamo Bucuresti in the 1999-2000 UEFA Cup first round, before winning 2-0 away from home to advance in the next round. That's the only time in the last 8 previous situations where they've been 1 down or lost the first leg at home and progressed. So it is few and far between, and they're going to need to win tonight to make a chance of going through a possibility. Charging forward there was Caoimhan, who was brought down again. It's going to be another Real Madrid free kick, and Benfica players still unhappy, but here's a free kick and a foul. See it again who it was. It was Barrero that took him down. Just drags him back. No intention to play the ball, and you question why that's not a yellow card and some of the other challenges we've seen is. Now, albeit I'm not saying the other ones aren't, but surely that one is. Not given by the referee, just a foul. Valverde. Alexander-Arnold. Back to Caoimhan, who's unfazed, and he's the man at the moment whose goal will be sending Real Madrid through to the round of 16. Aurelien Caoimhan. He's played really well in the midfield so far. And that goal was his first for Real Madrid since, I'll get there, still scrolling, his first for Real Madrid since a Copa del Rey defeat in April of 2025 to Barcelona in the final, where he scored a goal to give Real Madrid the on-the-night lead in that one in the 77th minute. That is his first goal since then, so it has been quite a while to wait. He's got a couple of assists, but hasn't found the net since. It's his first goal involvement since a 3-2 win in the Copa del Rey this season away at Talavera. Benfica still with a sniff of a chance, and when they do, they will want to take it. Dedic. Barreiro has to go backwards. Ausnes. I think both sides have lacked a bit of an edge at times tonight. They've been a little bit too passive at times. Last week we saw sheer aggression from both teams. I mean, lack of clinical edge from both teams last week in terms of the final third, but there was a lot more aggression. Oh, that was lovely from Arda Güler, and then he's bundled over by Rios, but the referee said no foul, said he went over a little easily. Barreiro, Silva, finds it out to Skelderup. We have another goal in Paris to tell you about. Rios is going to go. Shot it well wide. Another goal in Paris, and it looks like daylight for the European champions, who take the lead on the night and lead now by 2 goals on aggregate. It's 5-3 on aggregate, 2-1 on the night, and Paris Saint-Germain against Caoimhan Monaco look like they're heading through, and their defence of their title continues. Vika Kvaratskhelia with the goal in the 66th minute, and within 10 minutes of the red card, we've seen Monaco's chance of a comeback diminished and completely, almost eradicated completely. It's PSG 2, Monaco 1 on the night, 5-3 to the European champions on aggregates. And still about 25 minutes to go in all of these ties, so still some twists and turns to come, but at the moment, as it stands, it will be PSG, Galatasaray and Real Madrid, the 3 teams that would progress from these respective ties if all stays as it stands. Alexander-Arnold. Caoimhan, Camavinga, Vinicius Junior, Rudiger. Trying to ping it out to that right channel to find Güler, but overhit it. It was a little narrow, really, from Rudiger. Free kick, goal kick, sorry, it is, to Benfica. A little bit nervy for Alvaro Arbeloa. 43-year-old who has won 7 of his 10 games in charge of Real Madrid. That Osasuna defeat was only his 3rd in charge after he lost his first game in charge against Albacete in the Copa del Rey back in January. And then the other defeat is the Benfica away in the matchday 8 game between the sides. 7 wins and 3 defeats. Yet to draw a game. And funnily enough, tonight would be their first draw if it stays as it is, under Alvaro Arbeloa. Challenge there, a little late by Valverde. And that's going to see a Benfica free kick. The referee doesn't go to his pocket though, but Skelderup had the better of his man, and just a little bit late there from Valverde. It's definitely a foul. Nothing more though. Araujo. Down the right hand side to Dedic. Dedic trying the cross. Took a deflection. Chouameni's there to clear it long. Seen how to play. Out for the throw to Benfica. Some nervy players on the bench. And that man Dani Carvajal has seen it all, done it all. Been there. Been there and done it, and has all the souvenirs. And he looks even a little nervous. It's not a walk in the park for Real Madrid. Still a quarter of this game to go, and that's a lovely pluck by Pavlidis, and he's laid it out wide to Skelderup. Skelderup across, lots of bodies in there, but it's Rudiger who reacts first and the best, but he's given it away to Arsnes, and a little caught at the back here. Real Madrid, as the shot skipped wide by Pavlidis. Well, that is another example. Although there's an issue here. Rudiger's gone down. And I gotta say, Real Madrid trying at the moment to give Benfica a lifeline in this tie. And Pavlidis' shot was going towards goal before Rudiger took an absolute whack from the pace of the ball that deflected it wide and completely knocked him on his backside. And Antonio Rudiger receiving some treatment at the moment. We can recap you on those other games, by the way. In Turin, still Juventus 1, Galatasaray 0. Now remember, Juventus need to win by 3 clear goals to make it to extra time, 4 clear goals or more to go through automatically. It's just 1-0 to Juve at the moment. As it stands, they will be going out. They've had 13 shots, 5 on target. Galatasaray making a competition of it in that game, but at the moment it is Juve with the lead, but it is Galatasaray with the aggregate advantage, which means they will still be going through. And despite being down to 10 men, they're still putting on a good fight, Juve. They've no choice, and they have got really little to complain about. They've 20 minutes to try and rescue their Champions League campaign. But what a job it would be for Galatasaray if they could go through. They've already had a great campaign, and it's not going to be finishing anytime soon. Ball fed into the area by Benfica. Rios with a header. Plucked down by Thibaut Courtois. Well, Galatasaray, who beat Liverpool, beat Bodo Glimt, beat Ajax, drew with Atletico Madrid, and thrashed Juve last week. And they've given it a real good go, but it's not done and dusted yet in that one. 20 to go here at the Bernabeu, and it's not done and dusted here yet. Benfica still a fighting force in this game, and in this tie. Real Madrid can get another. It might be all dead and buried. Valverde through, and he's knocked it well wide. Again, Valverde on the end of a beautiful ball in behind by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Gorgeous ball, beautifully weighted. He skipped across his defender. I think of Arsnes in the cover, and really well defended ultimately by Benfica. Done enough against Fede Valverde. Both sides taking risks, but at the moment, as they collide here, Asencio and Camavinga, and they're not well, either of the two of them at the moment, so they have to be checked up on after a clash. And looks really knocked there, Raul Asencio. Seems to be the worst of the two here. Oh, absolutely cleaned out. And then as he dropped to the ground, he kind of had a bit of whiplash there, Raul Asencio. Hit the ground with some force. Oh, took a fair knock, the two players. We'll go back to that in a moment. There's a massive goal in Turin. I said, if Juve want to keep their Champions League campaign alive, they need to win by 3 clear goals. Well, they're just 1 goal away from that now, because they are 2-0 up. Despite being down to 10 men, it is Juventus 2, Galatasaray 0, which makes it a very tight game heading into the final 20 minutes, because the aggregate score is now 4-5 in Galatasaray's favour, but it is 1 goal in it now between the two sides. Federico Gatti has doubled Juve's lead on the night and has cut their deficit to just 1 goal in the tie. Could there be a miraculous Juve comeback against Turkish side Galatasaray at Turin, despite being down to 10 men? We will find out. And they're giving us a very classy finish indeed here. Well, back here though, still stopped for the moment because of that clash between Eduardo Camavinga and Raul Asencio, the two Real Madrid players colliding in the air. Raul Asencio still getting very carefully checked up by the physios, who feel there is a little issue here to Raul Asencio, who is still lying down flat on the ground. And there seemed to be a stretcher on the field. And this is not going to be a good departure if this is going to be Raul Asencio's final moments on the field. And it seemed like whenever he went down, he was curling up, but kind of shaking, like he was kind of trying to breathe possibly. And he looks really not in a good way there, Raul Asencio. And of course taking all the precautions they need to, the medical team there. And rightfully so, that's what matters at the moment. As Real Madrid going to make a change here in a moment, and they're going to bring a brace for the neck, I believe, of Raul Asencio to make sure his neck stays in place, and that's going to be put on before he is then laid upon the stretcher. And I got to say, I hope all this is precautionary and this is not a serious one for Raul Asencio, because we never like to see serious injuries to any player. Nonetheless, they're taking their very careful time with him. Eduardo Camavinga, by the way, is up and okay, which is good to see. This is not. It looks like David Alaba is going to be coming on for Raul Asencio, but there was another change being ready. Franco Mastantuono, who is ready and waiting to enter the fray. So there's two players ready to come on here for Real. And as players of both teams watch as Raul Asencio is helped onto the stretcher. And they're all there to help out any medical staff in whatever way they can, but of course giving them their room to do their job is utmost of importance. As David Alaba readies with his little warm-up here, as he's been taken from the bench pretty quickly after this Raul Asencio injury. And they're taking their very close time with this, being very, very careful, the medical staff. Some worried faces on the players there of both teams, all hoping that their colleague is okay. See some Real Madrid players up on the box there. Dani Ceballos and Dean Howson not involved here this evening. There's Danny Carvajal, who steps off the bench to, of course, come and greet Raul Asencio as he's stretchered off the field, which is never a good sight to see, but applause from all areas of the Bernabeu. And respect given. And so changes in common then for Real. So Raul Asencio and Eduardo Camavinga, who were both involved in that collision. Asencio stretchered off and Camavinga able to go off on his own accord here, but they're the two coming off. And David Alaba and Franco Mastantuono are on. And this will be an interesting one. See what way Real Madrid will try and wrinkle this out. and what way they will line up. I mean, I have to say, you haven't been able to really pinpoint where any Real Madrid player is at any point tonight, but the only player you could probably say is at a consistent position is their goalkeeper. They've been all over the pitch, every single one of them. And they've all had a lot of different jobs to do. As we are back underway for the final 13-14 minutes of this tie, and as it stands, it is Real Madrid who will be going through. But as so often in the Champions League, nothing's ever over till it's over. This competition embodies that fact more than any other. Never rule a team out until it's done. Here's a chance for Rafa Silva. Couldn't find the ball through to Skelderup, but given away to Ashness again. A little bit sloppy again from Real Madrid. Rios. Dedic down the right-hand side. Into the area, trying to find an option. Chips it into the box, away by Goulet, and further clear. Gonzalo Garcia, the centre forward, back doing a bit of defending. All the bodies on the line for Real Madrid. They've got the narrow advantage, and an advantage they are desperate to hang on to here at the Bernabeu. Here's Dahl. Otamendi. Pings one forward. Away by Alexander-Arnold. Met by Mastan Tuono, the 18-year-old. If I get my words right. As Alexander-Arnold scripts one forward. It's kind of an unsighted ball, but towards Vinicius Jr. and, well, mopped up by the Benfica defence. I gotta say, in terms of the second half, Benfica have had more shots, but it's a little bit desperate, you gotta say. And they're scrambled there, and they've given it away here, Benfica. It's Vinicius Jr. He's in to finish the tie! Finds the nets! And the man who opened the scoring at the start of this tie last week looks like the one who's going to get the decisive goal that's going to put the game to bed. And Real Madrid are looking like that they are heading through to the round of 16. He dances like he did 8 nights ago. And dance you must when you score in these huge games. And again, it's a tight second half that could have went either way. But it's something out of nothing that finds the space for Vinicius Jr. And he tucks it home. Beautiful from Valverde. Vinicius Jr. charges through with one sight and one target. And he finds that target. Far corner. No chance for Trubin. Carved open were Benfica. And Vinicius Jr. ultimately lands the body blow that might just knock Benfica out of the Champions League. And you gotta say, Vinicius Jr. has been the talk of this tie for more than one reason. But he is rightfully doing it on the pitch and through his scoring. And that goal, that as it stands, would win the game on the night for Real Madrid and would give them a 2-goal advantage in the tie. And now Benfica have got nothing to lose. They have to throw caution to the wind. They have to throw everybody up. And there's a flick! Oh, cleared off the line. Rafa Silva's flick that was cleared off the line of the back post. That could have turned this back for Benfica. Flick by audacious from Rafa Silva. Oh, Guerreras actually does nothing there. Swipes at it. Does very little, but he does get it behind for the corner. Corner it is to Benfica. Are they going to give us a really dramatic finish here? Auschness to take the corner. Right-footed. Up and cleared away. Scrambled away. Headed forward again. Nice little 1-2. Auschness. Flex. A little bit desperate again from Benfica. Well, We might have just had a decisive goal in this tie, but there is nothing decisive about what is happening in Turin. Weston McKennie has added a third goal for Juventus. And despite being down to 10 men, Juve are all the way back in the tie. 5-2 from last week. They lead 3-0, and 2 of those 3 goals have come after the red card. And it is 5-5 in aggregate. Whip ball in from the free kick, headed at the back post. Weston McKennie was there, and he fires it in off his head, and it is Juventus 3, Galatasaray 0 on the night. 5-5 on aggregate, and add to that, Juve are down to 10 men. Incredible. 8 minutes, can they do it all, get a 4th goal, and completely flip the tie from last week? 3-0 to Juve, 5-5 on aggregate. Sensational. Sensational. Real Madrid making some more changes as they feel this tie is well within their grasp of being completed. Vinicius Jr. with that decisive goal on 80 minutes. That's given them some breathing room on aggregate. Real Madrid 3-1, 2-1 on the night. Benfica need a mini miracle. They need 2 goals from somewhere. And not much time to try and find them. 6 minutes plus the additional. But cast your minds back to January the 29th. When Benfica left it very, very late against Real Madrid. They won 4-2 on that night. A 4-2 win would see them automatically through to the round of 16, Benfica, if they won that scoreline this evening. My goodness. As I'll confirm those Real Madrid changes, by the way. Palacios and Pinar, Thiago Pinar, are both on. They replace Gonzalo Garcia, and Arda Güler has Cesar Palacios and Thiago Peter Pinar. And Benfica going to make changes to their own. Skelderup and Arsnes replaced by Ivanovic and Barrenechea. So more changes for Benfica, changes for Real Madrid as well. And 5 minutes of this, 90 minutes to go, plus the additional time. And it is all on Benfica. They need 2 goals to make this continue. As it stands, Real Madrid are going through with a bit of daylight. That's the realistic factor of it at the moment. I keep darting my eyes over to this game in Turin. Juventus 3, Galatasaray 0. Galatasaray on the attack again. Well, if they can just put the killer on it to Juve and get a goal of their own, Galatasaray, they only need a goal, and they will be through. They can still lose by 2 goals tonight, Galatasaray, and still go through, but at the moment it is looking like a wonderful comeback on the horizon for Juventus. Here comes Vinicius Jr. Real Madrid might not be done yet. Vinicius Jr. wants another one to his tally. Flicked it. Finds Mastantuono. Vinicius Jr. Just holding on to the ball and it's taking the sting out of it. Managing this game to a finish now, Real Madrid. And this was a stat I didn't want to say a little earlier, but it would have been more relevant then. But none of Real Madrid's last 25 Champions League matches have ended in a draw. Won 16 and lost 9, while none of Benfica's last 11 have been drawn. Won 3 and lost 8. Only Liverpool at 29 and Marseille at 32 are on longer runs without a draw in the Champions League than Los Blancos' run of 25. That's going to become 26 tonight unless Benfica can score. But it was 1-1 for a long period of this game. A good, get my calculations right, 64 minutes of this tonight's game. It was 1-1. Ivanovic trying to work towards the box. Well seen out by Alexander-Arnold. Nice little 1-2 with Mastantuono. And the switch ball towards Vinicius Jr. cut out by Dedic, but Real Madrid back on the ball again. I've got to say, Benfica manager Jose Mourinho is winless in his last 9 Champions League knockout games. Drawn 4, lost 5. He's losing his last 4 in a row. 5 it might be in a row here tonight. It is the longest run without a win by any manager in knockout matches in Champions League history. It doesn't look like that tally's going to end this evening. We'll give it away cheaply here. Richard Rios has got it. Finds it to Ivanovic. If there are many miracles going to come, it needs to come quickly for Benfica. Otamendi. And very central, and they've given it away really cheaply there. I mean, that is terrible decision making. And they've given it away. Well, at this moment in time, this will be the end of the road for Benfica in the Champions League. After their miracle moment on match day 8 against Madrid, over 2 legs, they've just been bettered by Real Madrid over 180 minutes. And here they come again. Real trying to find Vinicius Jr. there, well blocked. Bots to Carreras, who struck it wide. Well, Benfica back to league focus. They're back in action in the Liga Portugal on Monday night when they head to Gil Vicente before they host Porto in a huge game next midweek, or the following weekend. Real Madrid, though, they return back to league action, albeit in preparation for a return to the Champions League in 2 weeks' time. They have 2 league games between now and then. Host Getafe and head to Celta Vigo over the next few weeks. Monday night for the Getafe game, and 5 days later, Saturday night, for the Celta Vigo game before, of course, the midweek after that, it stands round of 16 action on the way. And a reminder, Real Madrid, as it stands, would get either Sporting or Manchester City in the next round. Those are the potential opponents. And it's the exact same matchup as last night's game. Last night's tie between Inter and Bodo Glimt. With a winner of that, Bodo Glimt, of course, will play either Sporting or Manchester City. So Real Madrid will get one, Bodo Glimt will get the other. And that will be the draw on Friday morning. Right, another goal in Paris. Now, despite being down to 10, is there a late show on for Monaco? 2-2 on the night, 5-4 to PSG on aggregate, and it is Jordan Teze with the leveller on the evening. They need another goal at Monaco to take it to extra time, but at the moment, all these games were in the balance. This is the most definitive scoreline as it stands, this one at the Bernabeu. Juventus and Galatasaray are level on aggregate, and PSG have a 1-goal aggregate lead heading into the final few seconds. Real Madrid have a 2-goal aggregate lead. As we're into the second minute of 9 added minutes, so lots of time still remaining after that long spell of stoppage for the injury, of course, to Raul Asencio. I have to say this one's almost wrapped up and done and dusted, but I'm keeping a very close eye on the other 2 ties because there's still action to be decided in those 2. 5 added minutes in Turin between those 2, Juventus and Galatasaray, and the 3 additional minutes are up in Paris, so it's whatever the referee decides there. Cabral's cross was punched away by Courtois, and he's going to get the free kick anyway. So lots of eyes darting around the screens to make sure we keep right up to date with anything that happens across these ties. Because there's been late drama before. Will there be late drama again? As it stands, Juventus Galatasaray will be going to extra time as it stands, unless there's a goal either way, which would win it for either team if there was to be a goal either way. And PSG Monaco is going to a finish. That will be finished. PSG will be going through as it stands, unless Monaco get another goal that would take it to extra time. And here, Benfica need 2 goals without reply to take it to extra time. Who will join Atletico Madrid, Leverkusen, Bodo Glimt, Newcastle and Atalanta out of these 3 ties in the round of 16? Gotta see it. Back to Tchouameni. It's all over in Paris. The European champions have just about done the job over Monaco. They needed a lot of tightness over the 2 legs. A 3-2 aggregate, or a 3-2 win in the first leg and a 2-2 draw in the second means it was tight to the end, but the European champions progress and Paris Saint-Germain are through to the round of 16, and they will play either Barcelona or Chelsea in the round of 16. Not an easy setup, whoever they play, and we'll find out on Friday. We will recap, of course, that kind of match-up, link-up, and once all the ties are concluded, or at least as concluded as we can get them, as it stands at the moment, to tell you what will happen and who could possibly get who in the round of 16. Here's Vinicius Junior. Looking for the switch ball, finds Mastantuono. As the overlap of Alexander-Arnold fires it across. Put behind by Otamendi for a corner. 5 minutes of the 9 added. Still to go. Jude Bellingham, Dean Huyson. All watching on. I mean, I have to say, Dean Huyson looks hungry. Whatever he's snacking on there, he must be hungry. Alexander-Arnold to take this corner. Right-footed delivery, whips it to the back post. Tchouameni headed it off the back of his teammate and Rudiger there. Fed back towards Alexander-Arnold on the right. Swings it in with his left foot this time, deep, but only Juventus or Benfica players back there, and Dedic helped up with a clearance. Last minute of the 5 added in Turin. Still 3-0 to Juventus, 5-5 in aggregate. Extra time looming there in Turin. From a moment at the start of the night where Galatasaray were 5-2 up on aggregate, it's 5-5 after 94 minutes. And here in Madrid, Real Madrid are 3.5 minutes away from a round of 16 spot. And of course, Real have a title race of their own to worry about league-wise. They're a point behind Barca after 25 games apiece. In La Liga. And the date in the diary, the 10th of May, the 4th to final game of the season at the Nou Camp. Real versus Barcelona. Surely that will be a title battle in that one if they get to that point. They have a Madrid derby as well on the horizon to Real. It is going to extra time in Turin. So Juventus all the way back, making sure they're not going down without a fight tonight. And Galatasaray will have to fight for 30 minutes more, at least, to try and secure a round of 16 spot for the Turkish side. So Juve taking it all the way to extra time there, after a 3-0 victory on the night, despite being down to 10 men, as I said, for the majority of the second half. And 2 of those 3 goals came after they were down to 10. So extra time comes there. We will leave you at the conclusion of this game. We will recap all of the possible link-ups for the round of 16. We'll tell you a bit of information around the round of 16. And then we will have full confirmation of all the results when they have concluded. And we will have the results of the draw on Friday lunchtime for you. Benfica's cross. Cleared away. Not fully cleared though, it is now. Last minute and 45 seconds. Hit the Bernabeu. Rios plays it right to a man within 3 yards of him, and Fran Garcia. Another one of the Real Madrid subs. Ball all the way back to Trubin. Fires long. I'll have to say, for Benfica tonight, they've given it a good go. They started well, but Real Madrid shone through. The quality ultimately shone through, and overall, over the course of the 2 legs, it will be tough to beat Real Madrid. And it has been and turned out to be tough, but it hasn't been all Real Madrid plain sailing. I gotta say, they've certainly not made an easy tie of it for themselves, especially tonight. It's been a lot tighter of a game. That's credit to Benfica, but also discredit to Real Madrid to a point that they made it a little bit more difficult for themselves than they needed to. A few silly decisions, a lack of real edge up front. I think really didn't see much of their attackers too much tonight. 2 moments of great quality, Caoimhan and Vinicius Jr., and that's what separates them. And that's what, at the moment, is what is sending Real Madrid through to the round of 16. So we await the final whistle in the next 20 seconds or so from the referee. Ball in behind here for Vinicius Jr. He's got a hold of it. Well, they have one last chance here, Real, to add another. Not that time, is cleared away by Araujo. But there's the final whistle. Real Madrid through. Benfica are out. But I gotta say, for a long while in that game, it was a lot closer than the home side would have wanted it to be. Benfica started the night the best way they could. Rafa Silva giving them an early lead and tied it up on aggregate, but quickly pounced back did Real Madrid with Aurelien Tchouameni, and for a long while it was just the 1 goal that separated them, until Vinicius Jr.'s solo effort really put the tie to bed at that point. It is finished after 180 minutes between these two, over 2 legs. It is finished Real Madrid 2, Benfica 1 on the night. Madrid win 3-1 on aggregates. And confirmation of all 8 concluded ties in the round of 16, or in the knockout playoffs for the round of 16. Atletico Madrid through 4-1 winners against Club Brugge, made easy work of them after a 3-3 draw in the first leg and a 1-1 draw at half-time of that second leg, but 4-1 it was to Atleti. They're through. Bayer Leverkusen, albeit a 0-0 draw, but they are through after a 2-0 win in Olympiacos a week earlier, so they're through to the round of 16 are Leverkusen. A magic night for Bodo Glimt last night, 2-1 winners at Inter Milan, and already they were winning that tie by 3-1 going into last night. Incredible for them, and they are through to the round of 16, and the first Norwegian team to progress from a knockout stage to the next stage of a knockout in the competition. Newcastle 3-2 winners against Karabakh, but 9-3 on aggregate after that one. A lot of goals to keep a hold of there in that tie. And then tonight, Atalanta 4-1 winners against Dortmund, 2-0 down going into the tie, and needed a last minute penalty to decide that Atalanta were heading through. Dortmund are out, and that is a shocker a little bit for the Germans, but Atalanta are through, and at least one Italian team will make it to the round of 16 this time. Will it be 2? Juventus, coming into the night, had slim belief that they could, but they took a lead, then added to that lead, and then added another one, and it's 3-0 from 5-2 down on aggregate back to 5-5. They're currently playing extra time in that one, so it's not over yet, but despite being down to 10, Juve have made a real tie of it in that one in Turin, and little to know what will come in the final 30 minutes at least to be played there in Turin. It is PSG 2, Monaco 2. It has finished there, but PSG scraped through by the odd goal after their 3-2 win in Monaco last week, and a 2-2 draw tonight sees them through 5-4 on aggregate. So the European champions' defence of their title continues, and Real Madrid are through against Benfica. 2-1 winners on the night, 1-0 last week, so 3-1 on aggregate over the two legs. So, confirmation of the 8 teams that are through then, the 7 teams that are through. We've still one to be confirmed. Atletico Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, Bodo Glimt, Newcastle, Atalanta, Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid. Juve or Galatasaray will join them, whatever happens after extra time or possibly penalties in that one in Turin. Right, a look to what could come out of the round of 16. So Atleti will play either Liverpool or Spurs, and the winner of Juventus Galatasaray will play the other of Liverpool or Spurs. Bayer Leverkusen or Atalanta are there combined with Arsenal or Bayern Munich. There could be an all-German battle there, as Leverkusen could get Munich, or Arsenal could get Atalanta, or Arsenal could get Bayer Leverkusen. All could happen. We will find out on Friday. Real Madrid or Bodo Glimt, they have the competition of Sporting or Manchester City in that tie. And in the round of 16, it is Newcastle and PSG matched with Barcelona and Chelsea. What a cracker. Could we have the Champions League final that wasn't in PSG-Barcelona last season? Or could we have an all-English tie as well? Newcastle-Chelsea. That's a possibility when it comes to that. That is all what's to come in the round of 16. We'll find about all of this on Friday, because the draw takes place on Friday. And including that draw, we will find out the path for each team right the way through to the final and their possible opponents on that route to the final at the end of May. And the round of 16 gets underway in just under 2 weeks' time. Tuesday the 10th of March is the first night of action, and Wednesday the 11th for the other first legs, and the return legs 17th and 18th of March in the round of 16. But that is it from us tonight. Real Madrid are through. Benfica, despite giving it a good go, weren't able to defeat the 15-time European champions, and they march on to the round of 16, where they will face either Sporting or Manchester City. Thanks for your company tonight. We will, of course, let you know what happens in Turin on all of the full-time scores when it comes through after the final whistles. But thanks for your company tonight. It's been great to have your company right the way through these knockout playoffs, and we'll be back for the round of 16 in less than 2 weeks' time. 13 days and counting. Thanks for your company. Night-night.